Welcome to the Boston Debate League Judge Training video. We're going to give you an example round on the topic of whether or not cash bail should be ended in the United States to inform the rounds that you're about to judge later today. All of our debates start with 5 minutes of shared prep time for the affirmative and negative team. And after both teams have done that prep and are ready to go, we start with an affirmative team giving the opening statement. So go ahead, affirmative team.
All right. So these are some of the reasons for ending cash bail entirely. So one, in effect, the cash bail system criminalizes poverty as people who are unable to afford bail are detained while they await trial for weeks or even months. Spending even a few days in jail can result in people losing their job, housing, and even custody of their children. Studies show that pretrial detention can actually increase a person's likelihood to rearrest upon release. The next reason is that some places actually profit from setting cash bails. Louisiana, for example, law diverts a small percentage of every bail bond contracted with a bondsman back to the budget of the people in charge, to the court, to the sheriff, and to the district attorney.
Great. All right, thank you, affirmative team. At this point in the round, we give 1 minute for the negative team to prepare their questions, and then the negative would have 2 minutes to ask questions to the affirmative team. We're going to skip the prep time in these debates, in this debate, so that you can see the debate in a shortened period of time. So we're going to turn it over to the negative team to ask questions of the affirmative team. Go ahead, negative.
So why is the government profiting off of bail a bad thing?
One, using accused people to pay the government is really bad. That's very unethical of the government itself.
Got it. Okay. And how does spending a few days in jail cause someone to lose custody of their children?
Right. So sometimes if parents or families aren't actually have full custody of their children, or if they are divorced, they could actually lose it for not being there for their children, or even if they miss payments for children and such.
Okay, great, thank you, negative and affirmative. So immediately after the cross-examination, we move into the negative opening statement. So go ahead, negative team.
All right then. Okay, so under new law, some people in New York City who aren't held on any bail are accused of committing violent crimes. According to our calculation, this is from the New York Times opinion, 738 people arrested on burglary and robbery charges in 2018 would have been released without bail or remand under the new law, despite the fact that the collective records comprise 9,926 arrests, 891 assaults, and 25 murders or attempted murders. And as well as that, the law already affords defendants the right to appeal an excessive bail amount and judges to determine the efficacy of ensuring a trial appearance. All right, then. There we go.
Great. Thank you very much, negative team. So again, after the opening statement, we give a minute of prep time for the affirmative to prepare questions that it's going to ask the negative. And so at this point, we'll skip that and just ask the affirmative team to go right into the questions. So go ahead, affirmative team.
Okay, so the first question is, does New York City represent the U.S.?
It doesn't necessarily represent the U.S., but it's a large sample size of people, considering it's one of, if not the largest, I'm not sure, cities in the entire country, and also incredibly diverse. So it gives a good baseline to things that could be applied to other cities, other regions in the United States.
Okay, and what's the percentage of defendants actually winning their appeal?
I don't know. I don't have the evidence of exactly who.
Okay, great. Thank you. So now we're going to move into the second half of the debate. We'll have 1 more minute of prep time before each of the final speeches, the rebuttals, and the affirmative team will give our first rebuttal. So go ahead, affirmative team.
All right, so Judge, you should vote for the affirmative because the accused are forced to pay bail is already a really bad idea, because the majority of people who cannot pay for bail could lose their jobs, lose housing, and even lose custody of their children. The negative does nothing to stop the accused from losing their jobs by actually keeping cash bail. Also, since the states are making money off the backs of the accused, it's just very unethical. The fact that the state is using accused people to gain profit and money just sounds very, very bad.
Great. Thank you, affirmative team. And finally, we would have one more minute of prep time, and then we'll move immediately into the negative rebuttal, which is our final speech in the round. Go ahead, negative team.
So first off, on the arguments about profit and such, the entire idea that it's unethical is shouldn't be weighed here, because it's completely subjective and it isn't actually that unethical. They're going to have to make their money anyways, and the fact that it entices people to actually come to court is just a benefit, and it leads to profit of the state so they can actually continue profit. And on the New York City case, regardless of whether it is representative of the entire country, this is a case where, again, 891 assaults, 25 murders or attempted murders. Maybe there can be other cases where cash bail isn't kept, but at least in cases like these, cash bail absolutely needs to be kept, as to not let people like this run free.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, negative, and thank you both teams and all the debaters. Judges, at this point, you would fill out your ballots, choose a top speaker and a winner, and then you would give verbal feedback to the debaters about their performance in the debate round. More of that will be talked about in the rest of the training.